Because
of what?
we're worldwide. We are international.
Okay.
That part is very true. If we think about it right now, right here you have, let me see, you have the United States, you have Argentina, you have France, you have Algeria, you had Poland, you have India, you have Thailand, you have Japan, you have Somalia, you have Bangladesh.
Oh my God.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Yeah.
And Iran.
And you are
Sudan
missing
and
Pakistan.
Iran and
Don't forget
Sudan.
Iran.
Iran and Sudan. Yep. Oh my gosh, let me catch my breath, okay?
No, we can change the word right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we begin, we'll go ahead and we'll begin in just we'll give it another couple of minutes. But does everybody know what the topic is?
Hold on.
If you don't know what the topic is, I would suggest you take the next couple of minutes to go to the website,
Okay.
look it up, and think
Got
about
it.
what you would like to say. For those that participated in the past couple of days, you should have a general idea because it's related to the theme we've been talking about. Okay. Okay, let me write down. Save.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to be talking about wellness, physical, mental, emotional, and for those that wish to do so, spiritual. Okay, so those are the 4 domains. Specifically, what the topic says, it says, how do we create a society where all people have emotional, physical, and mental well-being? What changes do we need to make our policies and laws? So let me give you guys a quick example of what we're going to talk about, just to kind of set the tone. Okay. So if we think about, emotional well-being, okay, we think about being surrounded by people that love us, that care for us, right?
Yeah.
That contributes to our emotional well-being. So if we feel like maybe in our society, people don't show their affection, don't show their emotion, maybe that's a challenge. Maybe it's cultural. Okay.
Yeah.
If we think about mental well-being, okay, maybe we're not given the opportunity to learn, to gain more of an education, to exercise our mental capabilities. Okay?
Yeah.
And finally, if we think about our physical well-being, maybe we live in a society where there are not opportunities, maybe the food, to get the quality of food, or where things like exercise or taking care of your appearance and taking care of yourself are not considered to be a high priority. Okay. So does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So any questions before we begin? Like I said, we'll begin in just a moment. I'm going to refill my coffee, so I have a fresh cup of coffee before we begin. And then I will also do, so Jamie, thank you for doing your video. I will also do my video in just a moment. I finished eating, so now I feel like I can. But let me step away for one moment. You guys, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask, and I'll be right back, okay?
All right. So Rowan has a lot of
Excuse me, I have a question.
Go ahead.
I want to ask about the topic of discussion. What does it mean?
Physical, emotional.
About what we change about policies. What do you mean about policies? It's related to the country policies, in government policies, or it's international policies, or policies.
I think. Hold on.
The family.
Hold on, Peter. Hold on. Let me see. Yeah.
Oh.
How do we create a society where all people have emotional, physical, and mental well-being? Yeah, it's not like governmental. It's like personal.
Sorry,
Wait, I'll be back. I'll be back later.
Jamie.
Yeah.
Did you understand my question?
Yeah. You want to know what the topic?
I mean, which policies you mean? It's a general policies or? Okay. Okay. Yes, yes. But I think it's related to the society, huh? In general, the policies which affect on the rundown of efficiency. I mean, efficiency of society.
Yes. Yes, how society can be effective, can be productive, can be healthy, right? Yeah.
Thank you, Jamila.
Sure.
Okay. So let's go ahead. Looks like we lost Jamie, huh? Okay. So, okay. So again, welcome everybody. Happy to see all of you. Well, kind of, okay.
Oh my God, they cut off all your hair.
I know it. I got a haircut 2 days ago, and they were like, I said, leave some hair, don't cut all of it off. I said, you know what I said? I said, cut my hair military style like it used to be. And oh my gosh, I should have not said that, okay?
Yeah.
They cut it all. They were like cutting. I said, oh my God, leave some there, okay? They said, oh, before they said, oh, you have too much hair, cut it. I said, oh my gosh, okay. And they after they were finished, they asked me, do you want to see it? I said, no, I don't want to see it. Let me just pay. I'll get out of it.
But you are looking
sorry.
really, really nice.
We need
You're
to
looking nice.
watch your new face, new figure. It's you mentioned something like a new marshal of the law.
Well, I actually like keeping my hair short. It's always been a habit for a long time. So, but they kind of cut it too short. But you can't, that's the thing. Once you get a haircut, you cannot reverse it. Okay. You cannot get some glue and glue it back on. Okay. Once they cut it, it's done. Okay. So let me go ahead and we'll begin. So again, welcome everybody. Today is June the 1st, 2018. Thank you for joining us in this discussion. So today will be a discussion. We'll give everybody the opportunity to speak for a few minutes on the topic. If anybody needs me to slow down, please tell me. Okay. The topic today, again, I'll repeat it one more time. The topic is, how do we create a society where all people have emotional, physical, and mental well-being? What changes do we need to make to our policies and law? Okay. And the people we have here, let me make sure I have everybody written down. So we lost Jamie, but we have Jamila, we have Johnny, we have Maggie, we lost Aman, we have Jir Khan, and she's listening. We have Hiroki, we have Moyu, we have Habib. And Habib, I think this is your first time, right? Habib?
No, it is not my first time. I joined earlier for two debates.
Oh,
I
okay,
participated in two debates, yeah.
Okay, maybe it's been a while. Maybe it's been a while. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
thank
it's been a while. I'm so
Okay.
sorry, but it's been a
Oh, no,
while.
it's okay. It's okay. No, we're happy to have you back. Okay.
Thank you.
So we have Fida, we lost Mohammed, and we have Saif. Did I miss anybody? I think I got everybody, right? Let me check real fast. Okay, yeah, I think I got everybody. Okay, so I guess Jamila, we're gonna start with you.
Oh,
Huh?
No, please give me a second. I have a phone call. 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, just go with someone else.
Okay, Johnny, do you want to go first? Johnny? Okay. Okay, Maggie, do you want to go?
well, Richard, I really want, but I am not sure if I am able to because my connection is just awful. I am not sure if you can hear me, and to be honest, I can't hear you well.
Okay.
Sometimes there are some disturbing, so
Okay.
let me just fix this thing, and if possible, I will take a part in the discussion.
Okay, I
If
tell
you
you
don't
what.
mind.
No, it's okay. I tell you what.
Yeah,
I will.
I can go.
Oh my gosh, you guys are like a roller coaster ride, up and down. Okay, go ahead.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
So, hello everyone. Because it's supposed to be Video Friday, and I don't know who. I only see you, Rick. I don't see
I know
anybody.
it. I know
Okay.
it. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So, I would talk about the two societies that I lived in, and I would try to compare them. So, for example, my country, it's not a well-being society in general because people don't have access to a lot of opportunities, whether professional or even personal. The environment in general, society in general, it's not very easy to live in. It's not very easy to relax. So, for example, if we talk about the professional side of it, so we don't necessarily have a lot of stable jobs. It's very complicated to get into a job where you can build a career. So, and I think this is why a lot of people just escape, if I may say, because they come to European countries, they go to the United States, a lot to Canada, and now, even now, they start going to Asian countries like Malaysia or other countries. So I think that tells a lot. When you see a lot of people, especially young people, fleeing their country, well, obviously there is something wrong, and something needs to be fixed. So we don't have, economically speaking, it's not stable because of the government we have, and at some point, I guess it needs to change. And we need young people because now the people we have in the government, they don't have a wider perspective. I mean, it's a country it's managed by the army, and that's not the best thing when you have a country where you have a lot of young, I mean, the bigger and the huge segment of the society is young, so they obviously have different needs. So, and so this is from the professional side of it. Now, concerning the environment in general, so if I compare my country to here in France, I lived in the south of France. Now I live in the capital, and I would say it's almost the same. Even when I used to live in the south, it was a very small city, but I had a lot of things I could do. I had a lot of options. So I could go out. You had the mountains. I mean, a lot of places where you can go to relax. You had arts. You could exercise, for example, physical wellness. As opposed to my country, we don't have that. So, for example, we don't have, I mean, public and green spaces. This is not a common thing in my country. And even the few we have, they are they are becoming more, I mean, for example, if I go to my country and I go to a public space, a green space, to a garden, I will only find couples, right? Yeah, there is an echo.
Yeah, if everybody can make sure your microphones are muted when she's speaking so we can hear her. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yes. So, like I said, we don't have enough green spaces, and the few we have, they are not exploited in the right way, meaning that here in France, I could, and even if it's a very urban city, but you have a lot of parks, many of them. And whenever you go there, for example, especially in the weekends, you can relax, you have families, you have young people, you have couples, you have a lot. I mean, you have all the segments of society that are represented. But in my country, it's not necessarily the case. So if I go to a green space or to a park or to a garden, that's not necessarily the good place to go if you want to relax, because you only have young people that are there to hit up on girls, or you have young couples looking for places to have some intimacy, because of course it is taboo. So I think this does not help people in general to feel well in their society, to feel good in their environment, to have this kind of freedom, but also not mean this kind of leisure time, the me time to enjoy, right? So to be honest, and for example, if we talk about culture, right? I think culture is very important in any society, because we need to encourage that. We need to encourage creativity. And in my country, we don't encourage that. We don't. I mean, we don't have museums, and what is amazing is that we have a lot of history. We have a lot of heritage, and I'm always amazed why we don't have museums, why they don't encourage arts. So, so I think if we want to create a well-being society, I think we need to invest in a lot of areas, meaning like all the examples I mentioned. And this is why I think it's very unfortunate when I compare my country to France. I mean, there's a huge gap. I mean, a huge gap. Because, I mean, people here, they are always busy. And to be honest, I never understood the concept of being busy until I came here. Yes. I mean, in my country, of course, you can be busy if you have like a full-time job. And it depends on the job you have. Because if you work for the government, that's not busy. A lot of people, they just, they work, they go to work at 9 or 9:30, and they leave their jobs at 4. So to me, that's not busy, and they are not even doing their jobs in the right way, and maybe they are not well educated. So, but here in France, people are busy, like they are all the time busy, even in the weekend, whether they work or they go to a concert, they go to a restaurant, they hang out with friends. So the concept of being busy is a great thing, because when you say, okay, I'm busy, oh my God, that's so nice. I am busy. I have a lot of things to do. But in my country, the very common way that a lot of people use is, I'm annoyed, I'm bored, I have nothing to do. So it's like your brain is dying. You don't really feel it, but your brain is dying slowly, but eventually, yes. However, if I have to mention something that is good in my country, okay, because there is something good, a few things are good as opposed to France. I feel like in France, even if they are building a very healthy society, they still are very individual focused. They are very focused on their personal lives, meaning that the interest of the group is not necessarily the priority. And I have noticed that they are not so much, I'm not generalizing, but for me, the few people I know, they are not so much family oriented. However, in my country, and I think this is a huge part of being stable, even emotionally, because we were talking yesterday about emotional wellness. I think in my country, we are very much family oriented. So even if you can be frustrated in other areas, for example, professionally speaking, or even for example, that we don't have a lot of hobbies, we don't have a lot of things to do, but we are very much family oriented. So you kind of feel good on a very regular basis because you have your family, you have your people around you, you see them very often. But here in France, I know a lot of people, but to get together, it is so complicated because of the busy thing. Everybody's busy doing things, so you don't necessarily have the time to meet. So yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was a long one.
Yes, you asked me, right?
No, good job. Good job. Very good job. And again, it's really interesting because you're looking at it from two perspectives, your native country, Algeria, but the country you're living in. So that makes it really interesting is when we do that kind of comparison, right? You can kind of do a side-by-side comparison. So that's really interesting. I actually had, give me a second, let me turn it on.
Sorry. Can I ask Jamila?
Sure. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Jamila, I want to ask you, do you come in Algeria every year?
No, every
No.
2 years, approximately. Yes.
Okay. Because why?
Yeah.
Because I do agree with you in some.
Mm-hmm.
We lost you, Vita.
Yeah.
I think she was going to say she agrees with you on some parts, but maybe in other parts she doesn't.
Yeah, maybe.
So,
Yeah.
okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so because our country is getting better than before,
Is it?
See,
Well,
yeah.
mhm.
Just I'm going. So I wanted to tell you.
Maybe she can type it.
Oh,
yeah,
Jamila, sorry.
yeah.
I wanted to ask this
Whoa,
question.
wait. Okay, wait, Bijan, wait 1 second, please. So what I would suggest, Vita, if you can hear me, because your internet is having problems, I would suggest go ahead to type your response. It might be easier that way, if you can hear me, okay? Okay, go ahead, Bijan.
Okay, I want to ask Jamila about how you gather this data. I mean, you observe by yourself in your country or according to some statistic data. I mean, the facts you brought about the discussion about Algeria.
Well, I think it is both. It's a combination with observation and also facts. Because, for example, you have more than 60,000 people leaving Algeria every year. So, and the majority of them are young people. So I think when you have so many people leaving the country and not going back, that tells a lot.
Okay, did that answer your question, Bijan?
Yes.
Okay. And I actually have a question as well, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about, and you actually kind of brought it up, that part of emotional wellness is having close relationship to friends and family. So in a lot of Western cultures, you don't necessarily always have that close connection to your family. like maybe you do and like in your culture or other
Yeah.
cultures around. Is that, you know, do you agree with that?
What do you mean? Do
I
I
mean,
confirm that?
does it help in terms of emotional wellness and cultures such as yours and many cultures in North Africa, the Middle East, maybe even Asia, have those family connections that are so strong?
I think it depends on the society you grew up in, because I know, because I grew up in that society, even if I moved into another society, I still feel that need. Meaning that even if I enjoy the open values of European country, I still need that connection with my family. But maybe for European people, they don't necessarily need that because they were not raised with such values.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, thank you. Very well done. Very interesting.
Sure.
Okay, good job. And I also want to welcome, I see Miriam, are you here?
Hello, yes, I am here. I'm listening.
Okay.
Hello,
Well,
Jamila.
Hello.
okay, welcome.
Thank
Okay.
you so much. Pleased to meet you.
Okay. So, who was next? So, Jamila went. Maggie, you said that your phone or your connection is still kind of rough, right? We have Jir Karin says she wants to listen. Okay, Hiroki, why don't you tell us what you think from a Japanese perspective? Or, well, not just Japan perspective, but overall.
Okay. I think, you know, the create maybe people or maybe happiness. When the people feel happiness, maybe the feeling of achievement, also feeling of time, maybe friendship or, you know, family time or something. And what else? Also help, maybe if we cannot get health, maybe so sometimes we feel unhappy, but also we try to be happy, because sometimes happiness is a feeling of happiness is subjective thing. So even though I might be a happy situation, maybe I can be happy anyway, or you know, or I can change my mood with talking with my friend, or you know, this kind of activity. So don't abandon the hope. Also, maybe the aging society has started here, so many people worried about the future and or the future pension or what kind of situation they're gonna face. But we have to face such things because that's life. So in the end, all human have to pass away, and I think it's not easy process actually, because I saw my family case. But anyway, we need to face about that. So don't worry so much about it. You know, if maybe sometimes I feel the one negative thing happens, and like a flip side coin, some positive thing can happen. Sometimes negative things turn to be positive, or it relates to the happiness in the end actually. So don't abandon hope. Also, the kind of laws and legal or policies, and you know that maybe I said about that yesterday. So the law requires several percentage of physical or mental disabled people should be hired. So such a law encourages such people to get work, because maybe they can feel the participate of the society. Maybe it might be related to what Jamila said. Sometimes people, just isolated and there's nothing to do, so they feel, even though they have a time, but they don't feel happy. So maybe this kind of establish this kind of laws also helpful for those who are such in situation, because everybody can be be such situation, because our health is not for, we can not keep our health or our condition forever. So someday we will face the same or similar situation. So to take care of them by law also important as a society. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Hiroki. Good job. Good job. Let me ask you a question, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't mind. So you said that you have a law in Japan that requires, for example, that so many people with some kind of disability be hired into the workplace, right?
Actually, not so many, but the law says 3%. 3%. It's up to the company size or public, public office or government office. But maybe almost 3%, and I don't sure, maybe 1% of mental disabled people.
Okay. So let's say you have if you have a company of 100 people, that means 4 out of the 100 people need to be in one of those categories, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So here's my question. Do you feel like people, because obviously there is additional work that needs to be done when you make these kind of policies, right? You have to, for example, with people that have handicaps that are in wheelchairs, you have to provide some kind of elevator access, right? So do you feel like people resent that, or people accept that approach?
Actually, the most new building has such slope kind of thing, but the problem is the old building, right. Yeah, and so, but it's not complete. But if the law was established, company or society should follow the law. Such things is more encouraged. Would be more encouraged, actually.
Okay, interesting. Anybody else have a question for Hiroki?
I do.
Okay, go please.
Yeah, so I always thought...
Excuse me, I have a question.
Oh, well, hang on, Bijan. Yeah, hang on, Bijan. Hang on.
Hiroki, I want to thank you for your points you mentioned. Very excellent. And I want to ask about the... I heard about that in some companies there is a time for example, something like a meditation time, for the colleagues come together in a room and exercise and practice some yoga, or I don't know. Can you discuss, illustrate what this?
Oh, so you mean the company offer the therapy?
Yes, for example, in Twitter company, I heard that the colleagues of the company, I think in level of managers, come together and in a room and make some meditation.
Okay, got it. I think it's called mindfulness. Yeah, it's big in America. I've heard of that. I think some companies offer such things. Also, some company or school intentionally take napping time, power nap time, 15 minutes after the lunch or something like that. I've heard of that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, I think Jamila, you also had a question.
Yes. So like I said, I always thought of Japan as being a very healthy society, and I don't know because I think meditation was created there, being Zen was created there. So you drink a lot of tea, you eat healthy food. So do you think your society can improve in some areas, and which ones specifically?
Mhm. Maybe aging society is a big problem here because it's the first time the human being face such kind of society. It's at least the modern era started. So many people are worried about that. What's gonna be like? So it's cool. When I was a kid, a lot of kids are living around here, but now this community, most people are senior citizens, and so clearly society is changing. It's so many people worry about that, and another thing should be improved. Still, Japan has a lot of problem, and
Mhm.
so the Japanese suicide rate is not so low actually. So maybe something
Yeah.
in this society is maybe pressure on people a lot. Maybe
Yeah.
it is said once somebody fails, it's very
Mhm.
difficult to return to be successful. Nobody help with that kind of thing. Maybe might be happen. Also easy
Yeah.
to be isolated. Yeah, because Japanese is becoming more individual-based society. So
Uh-huh.
nuclear families also people live alone. Maybe 60% people in Japan live alone now. So such
Yeah.
isolation or alienation is, I think, also senior society, senior aging society. Yeah, we need to deal with that actually.
Okay. Okay. Well, I actually had a lot more questions, but we have many people, and well, Moyu was supposed to be next, but we lost him, so I don't know who
Jamila,
should
hello.
go.
Okay.
Yes, hello. Hello.
Sorry, I was a bit busy.
Uh-huh.
You know, still few minutes like half an hour for Adam. That's fine. I wanted to
Oh,
participate. I don't know
yeah.
the topic. I didn't get the topic clearly, but I wanted to speak a little bit. I think
Well,
the topic was society. Each one is talking about his society,
yeah,
her society.
yeah. So just let me post the topic on the chat. It is on the website. Okay. You can take a few minutes and look at it, and we will come back to you. Okay. Now, but now we have to start with the people that joined first. Okay.
Yes, yes, okay.
So I don't know, Johnny, who joined, who's supposed to go next? Because Moyu left. So
Jamila?
yes. Fida or Maggie?
Yes, yes. So me too. So I'm going to leave after some after I think 10 minutes. So
Yes, sure, you can go. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
can I speak some about that topic?
Yes, sure. You can go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are from the same country, me and you. Sure.
Yeah.
Yes. So we so in Argentina, we need to have a green space. It's very important.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I think that I'm so lucky because I work in one of the biggest company in Algeria. So this company gives us much opportunity. For example, we can do some activities like sport, like practicing sport. So we can also go to different area from, for example, from حسي مسعود, حسي رمل, in Aninas, to visit some to visit their how they produce petrol. So
Yes.
by this this way we can enjoy much. We can change our mood because we work under pressure. But we have much opportunity to feel well, to change our routine life. And also, so about mental wellness, I think that we should learn, focus on learning. So I read that study says that we should learn a new language age 5 years.
Ambitious.
Okay. So about emotional wellness, I think that family and friend and the true friends play a big role in our lives. To have a good relation between them is very important. Yeah, so we care from each other, we help each other. So
so much to say.
About physical wellness, I think that we should eat or focus on to eat healthy food, and we should focus on practicing activities like sport and etc. And I'm sorry because I know that I made much mistakes.
No, that was good. That was good. You did a good job. You did a good job, Vida.
Okay, thank you.
Very good job. I have a question for you though. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. You mentioned that you don't have very many, I think, green spaces, right?
Yes.
So like
we have
park,
this problem
like parks and that kind of stuff, right?
Yes, right.
Are they trying to change that? Is the government trying to change that? Are they trying to create more like parks and outdoor places like that?
I didn't hear you. Can you repeat, please?
Yeah. Are they trying to change? Are they trying to change that by adding more parks in the future or more green spaces?
Yes, why not?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yes,
so
and I do agree with Jamila because I visited Paris before 3 months. So you have, Jamila, you have in Paris many parks, many beautiful parks. And I loved so much the Luxembourg Park. It is really very nice. Yes.
I have to say that I hate it. Yeah, because you have a lot of tourists there, so I don't really. Now let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Because you said that obviously you are working with a big company. What is the company name?
Sonatrach.
Of course, yeah. So yeah. So would you say that because when we talk about society in general, I want to say that a society is stable and it's a well-being society, we need to look at the whole society in general, not only the privileged people, right?
Right, dear. Yes, I got you. Yes.
Yes. So don't you think that, in fact, our society, if you look in general, does need to improve a lot?
Yes, of course, I do agree with you.
Oh my gosh, two Algerians agree with each other. Changing the world. Okay. See, actually, you guys are the beginning of a big movement because we're changing Tunisia slowly but surely. Then we're going to change Algeria slowly but surely. Okay.
Yes, and even Morocco, and because I've
Morocco.
noticed that we are having a customer coming from Morocco to Tunisia to take one of our courses.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh.
Yes.
Oh, very interesting. I learned something today. Oh, good. Okay, very good, Fida. You did a great job. You did a very good job. Really, really good job. Okay, I think the next person, if Moyu's not here, the next person was Bijan. Bijan.
Just sorry. I have
Hello.
yes. Sorry to
Uh-huh.
Sorry, guy. So I have to go because we will break our fasting. Okay. So nice time.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us. Okay.
Good points.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Speech.
Bye.
Bye.
Alhamdulillah.
Irrelevant, but that's okay.
Okay, Bijan, please impress us with all your knowledge. Mr. Video Maker, Mr. Hollywood, come on.
Thank you for your encourage. Actually, I want to divide, my discussion to 3 levels. Personal healthiness, family healthiness, and society healthiness. And I think first, the first and important thing is that all members of the society decide to make a real change in routine life. And I think, for example, I should try to make a plan for myself, and in first level, I think I should love myself more than before. It's one policy. It's an important policy for me, because I think the loving myself cause that I care more than before about my healthiness. Because if I feel that I hate about myself, or try to or attempt to put in a bad situation, put myself in a bad situation, a stressful situation, I will experience fear, stress, and many other bad habits, many other bad, impressions. And it causes that, some, for example, there is some biochemical, I don't know how to say, some materials which injected in the body, in the brain, like for example, cortisol. If the cortisol increases in the brain, it causes that you experience more depression, more stress, and something like this. And I decided to change my policy for make a plan for routine activities. For example, if in past I have no enough practice, I try to make a long distance to walk or choose some new sports, or for my mental healthiness, I should try to learn and more exercise more for learning new languages like English language, and for example, better communication with other people, and this kind of affect healthiness. And in the past, the second part is you change some policies inside the family. For example, you can make a plan for being to the members of the family and go, for example, to a place for a sporting, for picnic, or visiting new places, or plan a trip. And I think this helps that we communicate in a better situation, because if you stay at home with your family members for a long time, you make a situation that members of family feel depression. But you can easily manage some simple programs for every day during a week. For example, one night you can manage a time for preparing dinner in your kitchen, and then go outside for example, in a park and sit and eat your dinner with family. You know, I mean, you don't need to use some fast food outside. You can prepare your food in your home, and serve it outside, for example, in a park or some in a beautiful place. And the other thing, I think, have more relationship with the relatives, or doing some, helping to other people. It's very important to make a spiritual improvement. And in society, the third part, in society, we can make some new policies. For example, in my country, girls or women have no permission to go to stadiums. For example, if there is a football competition, they have no permission to go to stadiums. You know, it's related to government decision.
Right.
And I think it's very important that we made a free space for all genders to have good experiences and social activities. This is my idea.
Okay, good, very good. That last part I thought was very interesting, Bijan. So in your society in general, even though, again, when we think about wellness, there's different aspects to wellness, but that last part, one of the aspects to wellness, of course, is the freedom to do things, right? That's part of the wellness idea, is that you're free to do things. So
Yes.
in your society, for both male and women, there are many things they can do. Both genders have access to educational opportunities. Both genders have access to economic opportunities, but there are still some areas where there's not equal access for genders, right?
Yes, of course. In some jobs, they not. I'm not sure that every woman can do the some jobs, special jobs.
Okay.
But for example, in some plants, I know that, for example, the manager hired some woman for doing engineering jobs.
Mhm.
For example, in chemical plants, there is some woman which do the process management.
Okay. 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 Well, thank you for sharing that. Anybody else have any questions for Bijan? Any questions for Bijan?
I think you did a good job.
Yeah,
Great
yeah,
job.
very, very,
Yeah.
very thorough, well thought out. Okay, good job, Bijan.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's go on. We have about 3 or 4 more people that we have to get to. So we lost Miriam. She was going to speak, but we lost her. Let's go to Saif. Did you have something you want to say, Saif? Mr. Saif. Mr. Saif. Oh my gosh. Look, he's laying down sleeping. Okay.
Maybe.
Farbos, did you want to say something? Farbos? Okay, maybe he's listening. We lost Jesus. Okay, so actually, well, I guess, and you said, Maggie, you don't feel like right now your connection is good enough to speak, right?
Yes, I think. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you fine.
That's great. Okay, so I try
Okay.
to give my opinion. Maybe I think that talking about well-being societies, we should say something about factors which are basic conditions, so that we can talk about well-being. And there are a few layers of these factors. And first of all, basic one, primary, is just physical safety, security. There is no well-being if there's no security, if we don't feel safe. And there are many places in the world where people can't feel safe nowadays. Let's say about Syria or some other places where whatever people do, they can't talk about well-being. And the other thing is the other primary basic factor, physical needs. If we starve, if we don't have economic stability, if we worry about tomorrow, what we can eat, what we can, how can we ensure food for our families or for ourselves, still we can't being we can't talk about well-being. So these are basic primary factors that must be achieved to go further. Let's say to go more sophisticated needs. And if we have ensured these one, we want to develop. We want to enjoy our hobbies. We want to get education. We want to talk about rights, equality, just develop in many different directions. And for me, it is actually quite hard to talk separately about mental, emotional, social well-being, because all these are mixed all together in one human. So my point is that we have to have ensured some basic levels to go up for higher levels. And of course, family is something what builds our how to say that what family is what builds our basis for the whole life from emotional point of view, social point of view, also mental. If we don't have proper roots in our family, proper support, we may lack that in the entire life. Maybe it's more individual point of view. It's not. I don't talk about laws, policies, and so on, but going further, we have to start from this point.
Okay. Very, very interesting. I like the approach.
Yes.
I thought that was
excellent point.
Yeah, very logical, very methodical. So the first thing you mentioned though is probably one of the most important things, and you talked about shelter, food, and clothing, right? When we think about the most basic human needs, right? Food, shelter, right, and these things, right? So I think, Maggie, your point was we cannot even think about wellness until we have at least met these minimum requirements, right?
Yes, exactly.
Or address these basic needs might be a better way to say it, right?
Yes.
So,
and why I mentioned that is the situation in the world we face nowadays. There are still places where people fight, where there is shortage of food, where people are in danger because of, I don't know, religion, cultural differences, and so on. So it's still not so obvious that we all have it.
That's a very, very, very good point. That you look at, like you said, from a geopolitical standpoint, you think, like you said, you talked about Syria or areas where there's civil war or conflict, and people don't even have those most basic of things. So how can you expect a society that's healthy, okay, unless you at least have at minimum addressed those things, right? That's very, very interesting. Very, very well put, Maggie. Good job. Very good job.
Thank you.
Very interesting. Okay, any other questions for Maggie?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I'm in a questioning mode today. So I think it's very interesting what she says, because I think none of us thought about this, and especially because, I mean, okay, I will just ask my question. Don't you think that well-being society is all relative, meaning that it all depends on the perspective and on the angle, from what angle you're looking at the society from, meaning that I mean, many years ago, no one would thought, okay, education, right? Education is a basic need. I mean, centuries ago, of course, it was important, but not so vital, I think. And they had a different approach to education, right? But nowadays we have another approach, right? So don't you think it's all about perspective and no?
I absolutely agree that it is relative, and it is the same relative as we would like to define the word happiness. What is it? There is no absolute definition. It is absolutely relative, and that is why I am talking about some factors that must be ensured, because these factors indicate points which are quite not relative. We all need food. We all need safety, and this is the point when we can start thinking about well-being. If I am not hungry, if I feel safe, maybe I feel happy, maybe I am well. Maybe someone needs something more. It depends, and it starts relativity here. But the basic point is I need to feel safe, and I can't be hungry. the same about, of course, my family or my close people. And but answering your question, absolutely, this is relative.
Yes, but because you know, I think it's interesting because where do we start rating well-being society, right? Because if we look at, like you said, Syria, we would think, okay, there is no well-being in that society. If we look at Palestine as well, but I've met people from Palestine and they are happy, even if they are living in a conflict zone. You would make the argument that they are not safe, but they are happy. So the way we rate a society as being healthy is actually based on how people feel in that society, right?
Yes, exactly. But I am not sure if we can say that people who don't feel safe can say they feel happy. Maybe this is our interpretation, or this is how we want to think. But still, I am not sure if we can say so.
Yes, and you know, again, this is interesting because if you look at societies that went through this long conflict process, our human brain is amazing because whenever you are in a situation, either you try to escape or you just adapt, and that environment becomes just normal, right? Like for example, living in a conflict zone. For example, I used to think that people living in Gaza, they didn't have a life. They don't go to university, they don't work, but they do. And people living in Palestine, they don't have a life, but they do, right? And people living in poor countries. I think I don't know, it's a tricky thing. And I mean, like you said, and you agreed, it's very relative.
Yes, I agree. It is relative, but it still doesn't mean that people can't enjoy some moments or some in their lives. Okay, so but talking about well-being, I think it is hard to define, of course. But what is it exactly? More exactly, it is something about balance, work, life, personal balance. If we feel balanced, we are well. If we are not, we are not well. It is not well-being. So of course, the balance, it's still relative, as we said. That for everyone, it may mean something different. But if I feel balanced, I can about my work, about my personal life, about my emotional life, and so on, social, mental. If I feel balanced, I can feel I can say I am happy in some way. Okay, so even people in places where life is really hard, to some extent, they can feel balanced with what they have relatively to others. But how many of them can say they are balanced, and how many of them can say that they enjoy wellness? Hard to say.
Okay. I think Johnny also had a question. Johnny, you have a question?
More like a comment.
Johnny?
Can you hear me?
Okay. You were raising your hand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we hear you. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, when for example, when Jamila would say, well, they have problems in their society, but yet they live there. The word for me that comes to my mind wouldn't be living. It would be more like surviving. So to me, it's like, you know, when you live in such a country where there is conflict all the time, there's something that is constant. I think some people that live there and stay there I don't think it will be because they choose to do it or they're happy. It's more like they're just surviving, or they don't have any other option. So I wouldn't define that as a
Okay, Jamila.
as a even if they have some access to something, you know, it would be like, you know, welfare in that case would have a different kind of definition. You know, it's not like, well, you are happy, that means you know your well-being is perfect just because you're happy.
Okay. Go ahead, Jamila.
I think to me, as far as you are happy and satisfied, to me, that is, I mean, you have a high level of well-being. Because to me, I mean, we can recognize and we can see what we like, right? What we don't have. But as far as it's okay with us, everything is great. And this is the nature, I think, of human beings. To me, when you live in a poor society, okay, I grew up in a very small village. I see a lot of poor people around me, and even me, I was not rich, and that was okay with me. I was trying to focus on what I had, not what I didn't have, and it becomes just natural to me. I never felt like I was surviving, never. I mean, we went through a period of time where I never felt safe because of terrorism in my country, the 90s. So it was never safe for any of us. But it just became not natural, but I adapted to that situation.
But that doesn't
So
mean
to
there
me, this
is
is why I
well-being.
say it's relative. Even here, there is to me well-being because I was okay. I felt good. I was with my family. I recognize. I mean, what do we call well-being? Is it having everything? To me, that's
No.
not the case. Having everything doesn't mean well-being. And for example,
Go ahead.
I mean, even here in European society, a lot of people are not happy. You have, for example, if I compare between France and my country, in France, even if it's a modern country, they have a lot of opportunities. You have a lot of depressive people. You have a lot of homeless people. In my country, we don't have that. And you have a lot of people that are not satisfied, even if they have a lot of things. So this is why I'm saying it's very relative. It depends.
Yeah, I understand. That's what I.
Oh,
That's
yes.
why I said that your concept of well-being is not the concept of well-being. It's like you have your own personal concept of what it is that has nothing to do with well-being. So for you, it's whether you are okay or
Well,
not,
maybe there is no.
and that's not the case.
Well, if we look at, if we relate well-being to happiness, how do we measure happiness? Happiness about satisfaction. If you're satisfied with your life, you're happy,
But this is
right?
not about happiness.
Mhm.
This is not whether you are happy or not. It's whether you.
Well, I
you
was trying to.
Okay. All right. Bijan, you wanted to say something?
Well, that's okay. Maybe you can explain.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, happiness is very difficult to define because generally, sometimes we can't say we are happy in our lives because this or that, but we still can enjoy some moments, and in some moments or some periods of our lives we can feel happy. Although generally we don't call it happiness. So all about definition, all about satisfaction, as Jamila said. I agree with it, but there are still different levels, and it also depends on our personal attitude, maybe personality, type of personality. There are some people always optimistic no matter what, in unlogic way. They are still optimistic, and there is the other side. There are people always pessimistic no matter what, no matter how good they can do, and so on, and they still see the empty half of a glass. So it's also about, I think, personality of a person, some personal features that our attitude, that we can see bright side, although we know there is dark side, and we focus on this bright one, and some other people focus on the dark side, because life is like this. It has both sides always.
Yeah.
So we still come back to the relativity. It's always relative. Yeah.
Well, I don't know who's going next.
I think Vijan wanted to say something.
I guess maybe you, John. Oh.
Oh, just only I want to tell that I do agree with Jamila about the satisfaction. I mean, it's a. I mean, it's really affect on our brain and our. I mean, every. There is some idea that if you want to recognize that you are in a right way in your life, please check your emotions. It's very important that what you feel about the whole your life and about your society. And I think the integration, for me, happiness is the integration of a little bit of successes and happiness. You know, I mean, for example, if you feel that you achieve your targets in your personal life, or watch that the people are living with you or living in society, they reach or achieve their targets, high hopes. It's really affect on your emotions and affect on conclude that it affect on the whole complete healthiness. This is my idea. And because, for example, according to some statistics in my country, there is, because of some problems, the statistics of suicide commitment is increasing seriously. And for example, the young people between 25 or to 30 years old, they commit to suicide because I think they have no idea, they have no hope to be better, to do the they have no idea to do something and which make the society better than before. They have no opportunity for changing anything. And I think this very, very bad, that situation, that the people of the society have no idea. I have no opportunity for changing themselves or changing the society.
Okay, thank you, Bijan. Thank you. We'll have a chance after we finish, everybody. We'll have a chance to open it up a little bit more for the last part of this session. So I think, Johnny, I think you are the last one before I go. So would you like to go?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. Well, I would say that although society and culture, I can hear myself.
Wait. Let me mute my mic. Go ahead.
Okay. So I was saying that although society and cultures are different, we can all agree that there is no perfect society. And having said that, for me, there are some of the, I can mention some of the things that I think all society can improve in order to achieve well-being in general. Policy-wise, I think that peace is very important. When you have a country where there is no war, and if that country can make, or all countries actually can make a worldwide commitment to non-violence, I think that would improve a lot the situation around the world, regardless of what country you live in. I think also we can mention job opportunities for everybody. That's also important. That can make societies be a little bit better. I can also mention having a clean environment where we will have a healthy air, healthy water, healthy flora and fauna. I think that is important too. And if we can promote tolerance toward races, sexuality, nationalities, religions, or opinions, as long as they are harmless, I think that's something that we can all do. And when it comes to laws, I think one of the things that we can do is to improve the education system. I think somebody else already mentioned this. Improving the education system and methodology, meaning providing access to free education for everybody, an education that is useful and focused on each individual needs, not on what will be useful to get a job, but what the individual needs. We can also improve the medical care system and hospitals so that everyone can have access to free medical care and medicine. I realize that's not the case in all countries. Some countries, you have to pay to receive a medical care, a medical treatment. But if we can make it free, I think that will help a lot of people around the world. I think if we can improve the legal system to support and reinforce gender equality and eliminate corruption where there may be, that will be also very useful. And I also think that if we provide people with affordable housing and if they can have forests and rivers or green places where people can have outdoor activities and live, if they choose to do it, I think that's also something very positive. And if we can improve the security of society at a society level and a national level, I think that's something that Maggie mentioned before. If you feel safe, that's something very, very important. So I think that when people have a healthy food in their table for every member of the family, a roof over their heads, a clean environment where they can grow up, a great education system, medicine available, a low crime rate, no wars, and a decent and stable income, it's more likely that people will grow all happy and healthy. And I think all society can relate to that.
Okay, well, I have a question. Does somebody else have a question first?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead, Maggie.
Johnny, you just stated a list of dreams, and if it happens in real, would it be still the Earth or paradise?
I think, well, yeah. I mean, we can all dream, but these are the things that I think there is room for improvement. Of course, I said there is no perfect society. We can never achieve perfection, but at least these are some of the things that we recognize there is a problem.
Yes, it's
Okay.
true. And I think it is a long way ahead to not even achieve excellence, because I think it's impossible, but even to improve it a little bit, still long way ahead.
Right. And I think the key
What
for that
doesn't
is
mean that
uh,
that we
uh-huh. Go ahead.
it doesn't mean that we can't talk about well-being, even if these things suck.
Okay. You're right. You're right. But I think the key is to address one problem at a time.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a quick question, Johnny. And then we have Jirkar and Miriam came back, so we'll give them a chance to before I go. But my question for you is, out of that long list of things that you talked about in your country, specifically in Argentina, what would you consider to be the most important thing to achieve? What would be the highest priority from your perspective in your country?
Yeah, I think the war would be priority. Yes, we have a lot of problems here. But I think the first thing that people always complain about is the security.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, do you guys have a pretty high crime rate? Is that the problem, you mean? Is there a lot of, robbery?
Yeah, I would say yes. Robbery is the biggest
And
problem. Yeah.
And probably more in the bigger city, right? Buenos Aires, right?
Right.
Obviously, probably that's true. Or is it
Right.
kind of, okay.
It's not like
Okay.
there is a high rate of crime. It's just that people are careless. They don't take care of their things, and they're very easy to spot a careless person.
Right. Got it. Okay. Thank you, Johnny.
Sure.
Thank you very much. So we'll go ahead. We'll go to Jirkarn, then Miriam will go to you, and then I'll go. And so Jirkarn, what would you like to say?
Hello, teacher. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, Jirka.
Maybe, yes,
Hello.
maybe I'm not talking right because I can't speak English well. Don't ask any question for me, okay?
I promise.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, in my opinion, in my country, in general, it is obvious that and the future of the country mostly depends on the decisions that our leader take, but we as an individual can do little things every day that may collectively make a huge impact on our country development. There are many issues which are within our reach: voting, caring for environment, education. People are just to have a few. If I am a prime minister, I would like to create a new law in the first and not be a part of corruption. I think it's important for my country. The root cause of why Thailand is still a developing nation is corruption. As a good citizen, we can stop giving and taking bribe on small and big levels for getting our work done. No more playing the transcript policeman off. To avoid challenge, it may be difficult and inconvenient at first, but will make a great difference. Yes. Okay, the second, teacher. the vote. I think the most important during of citizen is the vote. Every time there are election, people are used to come out and get get inked. Unfortunately, a large number of people don't. It is crucial that we utilize our life and vote for our government only. Yes. Okay, next teacher. Okay, that's it for you. I will try. I will try. Okay. The third, okay, respect every profession. I think it's important because it is a sad too that we look down up on people who work in our house, such as driver, copper, electricians, carpenters, shopkeeper, a business, a businessman does not deserve more respect than the electrician on the most basic of money and status. Only if we respect each other, I think equality. Okay. And the third, be a good citizen. I think it's important for my country too, because uh, they can they are losing lead out destination and breaking traffic rule, not paying tax, not taking or giving bill are few things that we do in our everyday life. We always know is a wrong, and seizing youth to do them will help Thailand come various steps ahead, be a good citizen. Yes. Okay, I will try, teacher. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. No, very good, Jerkarn. Hey, let me summarize what you said. Let me summarize what you said to make sure everybody understood what you said. Okay. So
Yes.
I will summarize it to make sure everybody understood. So what you talked about, first of all, you made a comment that individuals can do little things collectively to make an impact, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not always about the big things, it's about the little things. You also talked about things like corruption, for example, is a problem. When you pay a policeman off, that contributes to the problem, right?
Yes.
You talked about all people have the opportunity to contribute to society, right?
Yes.
You talked about all vocations, so all jobs are important, whether you are a house cleaner, whether you are electrician, whether you are working in a store, whether you are a businessman. All people have all jobs in society are important. We shouldn't say that just because somebody is a senior businessman, that person is any more important than somebody that washes your clothes. Okay? Right?
Okay. Yes, teacher.
We should respect all people in all types of jobs. Okay. The last thing I think you said, you talked about, I think, being a good citizen and providing a role model for our children. I think was what you were talking about, right?
Yes, teacher. Yes.
I think Jerkan mentioned about the moral valuable.
Yeah, the moral values. Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, good. Very good job. Great.
Very
Thank
good.
you so much.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Jared Karn, for sharing that. Okay, so we will go to Miriam. Miriam,
Yes.
can you share with us your ideas, please?
Concerning what? I forgot the topic. I'm sorry. I just broke my fast. I'm a bit tired.
Okay, we're talking about wellness in society, physical, emotional, mental wellness in society.
Okay. Before some time I was listening to what Jamila saying about Algeria, and I felt like she's talking about Tunisia.
It's
Yes,
the same, I guess.
Yes, they are probably the same. Because it is due to the same cultures and the same religion, same. It is almost the same. One thing more in Tunisia, maybe Tunisia is a little bit better than Algeria. It is now so open country. I think so. But the problem in Tunisia is that there is this regionalism, something like this, that there is big difference between regions. There is no quality, no equality between them. Okay.
Sure.
You're saying, for example, between the northern part of Tunisia and the southern part, right?
And the southern part, yes, right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And well, the most problem here in Tunisia is unemployment.
Mm-hmm. So economic opportunity.
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right.
And I think you know much about Tunisia now.
Yes, we are becoming experts on Tunisia. Okay.
Yes, I see.
Okay, so how about you talked about the economic, how about the physical part? How about the physical well-being?
How? Sorry, I didn't understand. Can you explain more?
Yeah. So how do we achieve a state of physical well-being? Because that's part of it too, right? I mean, the exercise, nutrition, our eating habits, also having parks, that kind of stuff is all tied to your physical well-being, right?
Oh, yes. This is also related to same, in the north there are lots of places of entertainment. Yes, you can easily have access to this salle de sport. How to say it, Jamila, in English? Salle de sport.
To the gym?
Yeah,
the
gym. Yes,
gym.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, my translator. Yes, gym. Because the north part is really developed, more developed than the southern part. Yeah, at all levels, different mentality, different. Even the food, is little bit different. Okay. Yes, we share same, but they have everything is better there in the north.
Yeah.
What to
Okay.
say?
Okay. So do you think, let me ask you a question. Do you think there's anything in your society that should change to improve this in Tunisia, in your country? What should change in society? Should there be different laws? Should there be different policies?
Yes, of course. There should be policies to at least treat they are just 24 cities, in Tunisia, and they are not treated the same.
Okay.
Yes, the northern part is treated better than the rest, than the southern part. It is totally different.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll have the chance to come here, inshallah, and you'll see.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I think anybody else have any questions for Miriam? Any questions? Okay, then what I'm going to do is I will give you guys my feedback and then we'll wrap up. So a lot of interesting things said. People did a really good job, first of all. A lot of good information. Okay, so when I look at this, I look at it two different ways. I look at it from the society standpoint, and I look at it from the individual standpoint. So from a society standpoint, the things we talked about educational opportunities, economic opportunities, clean environment, freedom to, practice what we want to practice, okay? These things are all important, medical care. These things are all important for the wellness of a society at large, right? When we think about, you guys have heard the term quality of life before. So if we think about the term quality of life, that kind of relates to wellness, right? So if you have a country or have a society that has a high quality life, is usually one that provides these things. They provide, education, they provide jobs, they provide, clean environment, okay? Now, let's talk about the individual, because that's kind of where I wanted to go with this. And I will give you again, this is my view. I think that wellness is something that and I think Maggie said something really important about a balance, okay? I think the balance is something that's very critical. We all know that in our life, we may have physical challenges, we may have emotional challenges, maybe we lose somebody we love. That's life, that's part of life, that's gonna happen, right? No matter what, that's gonna happen. But the idea is to try and maintain as much as we can a balance, okay? So what does that mean to me, to Rick? Okay, from an emotional standpoint, it means that I have people in my life, friends, family, that I love and I care about, okay? That's a big part of it, okay? That's part of the emotional support that I think all people in life require, okay? My opinion, okay? For an example, when I lost somebody very close to me, I had a lot of people that even friends at my work, my other job, that were there and able to talk to me and help me to go through that hard time, okay? And I think we have all had that situation happen to us, okay? On the mental side, I think it's all about exercising your brain, okay? Exercising your mind. Okay, and what does that mean? That means working it, okay? That means just like we do physical exercise, you need to exercise your brain, okay? You need to learn new things, okay? You need to read, okay? You need to, always find ways to keep it in good shape, okay? Because it's just like the body. If you don't exercise it, things, negative things will happen, okay? So you need to exercise it, okay? On the physical side, I think it comes down to the idea of eating right, having good nutrition is certainly part of it. Not doing things like drugs or these kind of things. I think that obviously can have a bad effect on you. The physical conditioning means being outside, swimming, exercising, going to the gym, going for a walk with your dog, okay? Whatever it is, okay? So that's really important too. Now for me, I'm gonna include a fourth category, which is spiritual, okay? Because for me, that's important from a wellness standpoint as well for me, okay? Because I believe that for me, sometimes in our life when the emotional things are going hard and the physical things are going hard and everything else is going hard, sometimes to me, that fourth area for me is an area I look to help me deal with these other hard situations, okay? So wellness to me is trying to achieve, and they will never be 100% in balance. It's impossible because things will always happen in life. But the goal is always to try and achieve that balance. And so to achieve that balance means there are things we can do in each one of those areas. And again, for me, 4 areas, the emotional, the physical, the mental, and the spiritual are all equally important, okay? So that's kind of my view at it. And I think that in my country, we do a pretty good job in most areas. Maybe not perfect. Of course, there's no such thing as a perfect society. But I think in general, we do a pretty good job in most areas. So any questions? Oh my gosh, that was easy. Okay.
Interesting.
Huh?
Interesting.
Did I put you guys to sleep? Huh?
No.
No,
No, thank you.
no, you just said everything so that we have no question.
Well, this is actually, if you get some free time, when you're getting ready to go to bed at night, or you get up in the morning and you got some free time, just think about it for a few minutes. It's really actually one of the most important things that we can think about. And particularly for those people that have gone through a lot of hardship. Maybe you lost somebody that was close to you. Maybe you had financial problems. Maybe you had physical problems, right? Physical health problems, okay? It's really important that you recognize that, wellness is something that it should be like a daily habit, in my opinion. We get up in the morning, we eat something, it should be like brushing your teeth. Most of us brush our teeth every day, hopefully, okay? Right? So wellness should be like that. It's something we should always keep in the front of our mind because it affects us, right? It affects how we feel about us and how we feel about other people. So it's important to keep it in mind and always remember the things that we can do to improve it. And we can, right? We can reach out to people. We can introduce ourselves to people. We can make new friends. We can read a new book. We can learn a new language, right? There's many, many things we can do to improve our wellness. So I really honestly believe this with all my heart, okay? Something, and I think it gives us also a purpose, okay? I think purpose is important, okay? So if we have purpose, we have something to move us forward, okay?
Yeah.
All righty.
I have a question.
Oh my gosh.
Me too.
Me first.
Go ahead.
No, I just thought about this because of what you said. Do you think that, because I think when we talk about wellness, obviously there's physical, emotional, mental, spiritual for some people. Do you think that depending on your age, the order in which you prioritize them changes or not?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it probably does. And the reason why is because as you gain more life experience, as you encounter certain things, right? You obviously are not exposed to some of these hardships. For example, when you're 19, 20 years old, okay, you're not so much worried about certain things, okay? But as you get older, and maybe you have life experience, maybe you have a physical condition, or maybe you have somebody in your family that was close to you and you lost them, maybe your parent, right? You lost your parent or something, or you lost a sister or somebody, or sibling or something. So I think it does, because I think as we get older, our life experience is, again, I always say life experience is the best teacher that we'll ever find on this earth. Far better than any classroom that we'll ever go to, okay? Life experiences, because it's real. We can actually, be part of that experience and understand it in a way that a classroom will never teach us, okay? So yeah, definitely. Yes, I would think it would. Yep. Because it comes down to how we prioritize our time, right? So for example, let me give you the example. For me, pretty much since I was about 16, 17 years old, I've always been pretty active, okay? I've always played basketball. I've always done swimming, okay? So for my entire life, I've always been pretty active, for the most part, okay? But maybe there are some other areas of my life that I wasn't so active in. I think for me, I've always been, maybe it's a little bit different with me because I got custody of my daughter at a relatively young age. So that became very important from a family perspective. I think I've always been interested in learning new cultures and languages. So I've always exercised my mind. I've always been, looked at the physical part in terms of eating right. Probably, actually, you know what? Maybe the spiritual part for me. This is, I'm speaking for Rick. more important recently, okay? Because maybe in the beginning I didn't think that much about it. I grew up as a Christian, okay? But I didn't really pray, okay? I didn't really exercise any kind of faith. But I would say in the past few years, I probably have been doing that more than I used to, okay?
Yeah, because the reason why I asked this question is that I think even if you are early, let's say here in France, from an very early age, they encourage their kids to exercise, to practice a sport. You have to. But kids, they are not necessarily conscious. So I think the more you age, you become conscious about why you are doing certain things and maybe how to prioritize. So yeah, this is why I asked the question. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it comes to there's a word that I like to use, self-awareness. Your self-awareness grows over time, again, as you experience, maybe, yeah, when you're a kid, you don't really think about it. But as you become an adult and you see the consequences, right? You see the consequences of people eating bad food, getting like maybe heart attacks, right? Because they're eating greasy food all the time, right?
Yeah.
Or having some kind of, problem with health. They can't walk or whatever because they don't exercise on a regular basis. So yeah, I would agree with you. Okay, Bijan, you had a question?
Yes, just only I want to ask about what is your idea about that? Which policies you think that we can choose for deploying the spiritual experiences within society?
That's a touchy one because to me, spiritual, you can't. Okay, so first of all, the only policy I think there should be is there should be no policies. Okay. What I mean by that is, to me, the spiritual thing is an individual thing. Okay. Government should never set any policy. It should always be an individual choice to believe how they want to believe, whether if you want to believe in a higher being, that's your choice. You can. If you don't want to, that's your choice. You can. But there should never be, ever, I think we should always have the only policy should be that people can choose. That's a personal choice, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And the government should never try to interfere with that. That's something that's between a person and their belief. Okay? They believe yes, great. If they believe no, that's great too. That's their choice. But the government should never, ever, ever try to make people believe a certain thing, one or the other, ever, 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 ever. Because that's my choice. That's your choice. That's other. Huh?
No.
What's that?
I say there is one thing that the government could do in that regard is, to protect individuals' right rather to believe something or not to believe something, right? I mean, there are people who want to impose something to other people. That's something that the government can help with, ensuring your right to believe whatever you want, but also not to believe other thing. Yeah.
Well, no, I don't think the government should get involved. I think the government should basically say that, period. It's like in my country, right? You can follow whatever religion you want. You could be Muslim, Hindu, atheist, or not believe at all. You could do, that's all the government says, is that you will not, we the government will not tell you have to do something. That's it. And if people want to believe, and if I want to go and say, hey, Mike, I really think you should, follow this. Hey, I have the freedom to say that to him. He has the freedom to ignore me if he wants, right?
Yeah, but the problem comes when
no, the government should never dictate people.
The problem comes when people try to use that and make other people do things according to their beliefs. For instance, when we address the topic of abortion, when we address the topic of sexual education, or some of these big issues where people try to impose their beliefs into the legal system, and there's where the government can help and say, no, keep your religion, your belief for yourself, let people have their own laws that have nothing to do with religion.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's something that the government can help with.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I mean, the laws. Yeah. And in my country, the laws are supposed to be very, very clear. I'm not saying they always are, but the laws are supposed to be very, very clear. Religion should never play a role in a legal process, because the legal, again, as a secular country, right? Those things are supposed to be divided, right?
Right.
So yeah, I agree. I agree from a law standpoint or a policy standpoint, the government's role. Yeah. No, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. It's a person's choice, whether they want to believe or not believe. That's up to them.
Yep.
Okay. Any last comments before we wrap up? Oh my gosh, you guys, what a wonderful discussion. Really, really
I'm tired.
Good. We're tired. I know. It's like everybody's like, okay, I've got some coffee.
Yeah, that's not fair. Okay,
I've got some iced tea. I've got some iced tea, peach tea. Okay.
Have a nice time.
Okay, listen, everybody, take care of yourselves. Happy to hear you. We will see you tomorrow. Good night.
All right. Rick.
Au revoir. Adios.
If you have
yes.
I will be available to have that conversation you wanted to have with the team. At least I will be available.
Okay. I'll find out. We'll talk to Jamila. I think it's probably too late for Rajano now. I don't know. It's already, for her, it's already 11:45 p.m. Today was what? Today's Friday, right? Yeah. So, okay. Well, I'll send a message in a global group and see what their responses are, okay?
Sure.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Okay.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Very It's session, useful information. Thank you and bye bye. Bye bye, guys.
Bye, guys.